In jazz, there is more than one way to harmonize a tune. In most fake books, we find the basic harmonizing of a tune, but they are not written in stone. By altering, substituting chords, we can make any progression more interesting. In this video, we are going to analyze where and when chords can be substituted. There is a fine line between substitutions and chord extensions. And in extensions, we add color notes, for example, to the underlying chord.
In other situations, we must use an extension to accommodate the melody note of the chord. In this case, the melody is the flat 5 of the chord.
While in substitution, we replace a chord altogether. In jazz, it is always possible to add chords to a progression to make it more interesting or more beautiful. When the original chord is replaced by a new one, we call it a substitution. I am going to illustrate the possible substitutions in the context of a 1-6-2-5-1 and a 2-5-1 progressions. Now let's analyze the individual notes of a C major chord and an E minor 7 chord. C major 7 is made of C, E, G, and B notes, and E minor 7 is made of E, G, B, and D. We can see that 3 of the 4 notes are the same. This makes the chord a good candidate for a substitution. The original progression would be C major 7, A minor 7, D minor 7, G7, and C major 7, a 1-6-3-5-1. If we replace C major 7 with the E minor 7, we have a 3-6-2-5-1, E minor 7, A minor 7, D minor 7, G7, and C major 7. This kind of substitution works well in the specific case 1-6-3-5 progression, as we are creating a descending series of 2-5 movements. There are 2 of them. In the original progression, only the first 2 chords were not forming a 2-5, obviously. In the next context of both 1-6-2-5-1 and 2-5-1 progressions, we can substitute all these chords with all dominant 7s. In other words, in this context, we can modify the modal characteristic of the third of the chord, as the chord itself is defined by the dominant 7. We can think of this as a modal interchange, as if we were borrowing the chord from another scale. This substitution also defines the function of the chord, as the 5-1 movement is much more effective and strong when the 5th is dominant. Now, in blues progressions, dominant chords are the basic harmonic structure, and in jazz, they are interchangeable with several other chords. A major chord can always be substituted with the relative minor, which is the 6. Not only the above mentioned progressions, and if we spell out the A minor chord, which is the minor relative of C major, we get an A, C, E, G. As we have seen before, C major is made up of C, E, G, B, and once again we have 3 out of 4 notes that are in common. We can also think of this substitution, which is common in many different genres, as an example of a simple reharmonization. Probably the most common substitution in jazz is the flat 5, also known as a tritone sub. Tritone is an interval of 6 semitones or half steps. Therefore, it splits the scale in 2 equal parts because the scale is made of 12 semitones or half steps. For this reason, this interval is symmetrical. In other words, if the tritone of C is G flat, the inverted tritone of G flat is C. In some harmonic contexts, G flat could be named F sharp, but this goes beyond the scope of this tutorial. I will soon publish a specific video on scale, constructions, and intervals. Please refer to it if you are interested. Now, by applying a tritone substitution, it is often possible to play chromatic bass lines, both in jazz and bossa nova, for example. You might encounter some other kinds of substitutions, but the one analyzed in this video are by far the most commonly used, especially in jazz. Now, I will be publishing several videos about music theory in the future, so let me know in a comment below if you're interested in a specific topic, and don't forget to subscribe to our channel and hit the notification bell for more music excitement.